Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial in camera and lens repair. And this time I will try to fix the very stiff focus in an old Helios 40 and it's the 85mm 1.4, or if you prefer 1.4/85. Well, this nice old Russian lens is it looks really nice, and the aperture is actually working, but the focusing ring is quite stiff, and at some point it is a bit loose when it comes to, and then it goes loose again, so it's not really that good. So it's all old grease in that lens, and yeah, I would like to show you how you can possibly fix this. We need some tools, just a very few, because this is just a simple assembled lens. We need something very pointy. It will say a dentist tool, which is very pointy to make scratch, and this is very useful. A 4mm screwdriver, flathead screwdriver is the only thing flatheads in here, and we need a 1.2mm also flathead. We need a brush, some grease, and in this case I would like to try the Liqui-Moly LM47 MoS2. I think it's a good grease for many lenses. And we also need a measure tool, which is really good when working with the helicoids. So let's jump into it. It's not that hard. See, the focusing helicoid and the lens aperture helicoid, lens aperture assemble. Yeah, so it is. It's two separate parts. So it should be quite easy to, if I can turn it, stiff, it's really, yeah, it goes to there. So set it at infinity. See here, difficult to see with the shiny material, and have a good grip on here, on the back part here, and on the front, and then you have to turn it and simply unscrew it. It takes quite long to unscrew it because it has a long thread. And when it says click, 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 some point, yeah, I think we're there. And again, so it's fine. Then we can take the two assembly apart by holding this way and simply take off the helicoid here and the lens assembly. The lens assembly has a spacer which can be quite thick, or maybe it's thinner. It could be different in your lens. So putting that aside, and then we actually look into the helicoid, the focusing assembly, which is actually quite simple. There is a focusing ring here, and it's actually what do you say, screwed into, hold by the 3 set screws around here, there, and there, and they are just screwed into the, there is a retaining ring around here that's actually hold the the what do you say, the focusing helicoids in place into the actually back part here. We could also take this apart, which is so we not have too many things to fiddle with. Just a simple screw, nothing special, and it cannot be assembled in the wrong way. I mean, at least those parts here, it's really heavy metal compared to the aluminum and brass in the focusing system. What we're gonna do is really important, just so we have a reference. I don't know if there is a repair manual for this lens, but well, you might find or you might not. So, setting the focusing ring to infinity, and it has to go to, you see the little pin here, this little pin here has to go against this pin here, all the way up to here. So that's infinity. You probably, hopefully can see. Now, to get the focusing ring itself to sit in the exact same position as before you take it apart, you will simply need to set some marks in here. I mean, it could be your lens is assembled wrong, or the focus is out of alignment and cannot reach infinity. But at least you have a kind of starting point. I will show you how how things are measured in this lens. Remember that. It could be different in your lens. See, make a scratch or two inside here, and in line with the other. I mean, it will say the outer. It will say the retaining ring, and next to the inner helicoid, and next, I mean, not the inner helicoid. It will be the outer. I will say. So first the retaining ring, next the outer helicoid that is connected to the inner helicoid, which is the most inner part here. So all those marks have to sit in line. So you have it's your reference at infinity. So now we can just loosen the 3 set screws in the focusing ring. No need for taking them out. So by that, and now it's actually loose. You see, I only unscrew them a few turns. So now I can take it out, the actual focusing ring, and take it apart. And that's it. And the ring, the focusing ring is, well, just a piece of round, basically is a round piece of aluminium. Better have the screw in a little, just so we will not get anything wrong or missing a set screw. That will be terrible. So that's fine. And the other. So now we are safe. So now we're looking into the more actually helicoids. Here you see it's really gunked up with old grease. I don't know what kind of grease, but well, it's actually very dry and quite dirty if you look around. So I think maybe it hasn't been serviced for the last many years. Now, next thing is we need to take off the retaining ring. But before we continue, we need to make some measurement. So I take some notes. I haven't been further into the helicoids. I just make my notes here. And then we take off the retaining ring, and take out the helicoid and clean it and re-grease it and put it back in. Now, if we set the focusing ring at infinity, it will say, I have my mark here, and it cannot go any further to the end pin here. See? So it will be there. So I actually set a mark here in line with the infinity mark. It's on the retaining ring. This is the outer ring here, which can be unscrewed. So set a mark here. No one will see it ever. I mean, if they take it apart, that's fine. So set a mark here in line with the index mark. That's your starting point for that. And this ring sits with 3 set screws, one here, there, and there. But before we take it apart, I will set it at infinity. And at infinity, the inner helicoid is from the front to the back. It's at least around 36.76 millimeter. It will say, if we measure from here, from the very front here to the very back, not the mount, but only the back of the body. So it will say something like that. And well, it's actually what I measured. And I should end up with that when I am actually done with the focusing system. It could be more or less 0.1 millimeter plus minus. It doesn't really matter. So now the ring sits really stiff, but off with that. And I fully take out the small set screws here, and it's better so you will not lose them. Oh, so this out, and maybe I should measure what's the diameter of those screws. That could be very useful for someone. It's 1.32 millimeter. And how long it is? Well, I would guess 1.45 or so, without knowing it. Really difficult. Come on, little fellow. We can see here. Yeah, okay. The set screw is 1.32 millimeter in diameter, and it's around 1.6965 or so long. That could be very useful if you cannot find one or you're missing some of them. Now, the retaining ring I need to unscrew actually clockwise. It will say that way or that way. So it's already stopped at the stop pin here, where it cannot go any further. And I have my marks here, so I can just turn it clockwise. And for that I will simply use some more sticky working gloves, which is really useful to that. And we have to count how many turns, and it's quite stiff. My mark, my starting point, So I will simply 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Let's see when it comes off. 5. Interesting. 6. Is it off? No, not yet. 6 turns. Oh, it comes off. So at least at around 6 turns till off. We just make a note. It's good to have. Set C retaining ring 6 turns. Off. It's good to know. I mean, it could be different in your lens, but it's good to have the actual way it came off. So now, off for that glove. It's too hot to work with. And so, let's see. Just have a small arrow here where it came off. It should be around there. Something like that. So now I can take off the retaining ring of the thread. Wow, really old, gunky, dirty. It's really dirty in here. So now off with that, and then we need to pull out the actual helicoid. There is a guide pin somewhere in here that we need to come into, but I can just pull it apart. Think so. Yeah. So, and where is the guide pin? Oh, it's over here. So you can see it down here. I think I will just, it's that, it should be there. There shouldn't be any problem with that. Whoa, really dirty. So I just need to clean it out for the old gunky dirty grease, and also for the actual helicoid. So, and there you see the guide pin here that goes into the gap here. So, whoa. So I'll unscrew the guide pin, and that I can actually unscrew the helicoid, so we can see how it works there. And if my stop pin here, and then I can turn the actual focusing ring so the helicoid will move on. I don't know when it will come off, but I will set a small mark where it should come off. I mean, where it come off. And that's important because then you will know the right thread actually. Wow, it's really dry. So I'll just unscrew it. Where's my screwdriver? Here. Now I need a smaller screwdriver. It's a 2.5 millimeter. I think it would be fine. maybe I have to just take a little of the old thread out. And oof. So let's see if it will work. Yeah. Sometimes set screws can be really hard to unscrew, and you will maybe break them. So all for that. Wow. That's really dirty. Come on, little screw. Where did it go? Okay. Now, I will find it later. It was sitting on my glove and it just disappeared. Well, now we see the I have my mark here, and I simply can just turn the focusing ring, turn it as long as I can. When it comes off, this is my reference. When it comes off, it will say not there. I have to go any further. And difficult to know where it comes off. Maybe at the stop pin. One really have to be careful. Wow, that's a long thread. Yep, here it off. So there. And where is my mark? I always think I will do it in here, because that's much easier to see. So the thread is off, and I can just set a mark in here. There, not on the thread, but and I can set a mark here. So that's fine. So you see, when I have the two marks in line, I know the exact position, and the thread will end it up all the way to the very stop up here. So there's no problem. Then I can just take it apart. Dirty. So yeah, and then I will just go and clean it in well, lighter fluid, which I think is the best. So let's see, I will be back. Okay, we continue. So now I've cleaned the the helicoids here, and it looks really nice. If we look how old this lens actually is, and yeah, I think it's fine. So now I will just give it some grease and put it back together. And I will use the LM47 with MoS2. And with a fine makeup brush, I think it should. I have no idea how good this grease will work, but I will give it a go. So now we will see how it will be. Yeah, the helicoid looks quite good, and it will go in from that. Yeah, I'll just give it here, so it will be spread on the threads. So it doesn't have to be really a lot, but it maybe depends on what kind of grease it is. I think the Liqui-Moly is actually a good grease, and in many lenses, I think. Maybe you have a different reference in using different greases. I was thinking about using the grade 10 from Japan Hobby Tool, but I don't know. But we will see how good this grease will work. Maybe it's too stiff, maybe it's fine. I think we'll try this. And since I made a small mark here, and I also make a small mark here, those two has to be, around in line, and then I should just turn it. Wow, this actually seems to be quite good. Just give it some motion and back and forth. Yeah. You see, it's a heavy lens, so it should also have some kind of a not too thin grease that will over time separate. The oil will separate from the grease, but the Liqui-Moly doesn't do that. That's why I think it's a fine grease for this, in this case. Yeah. So there, and it will come off there. So that's good. I can just wipe a little away of it. Just use a tweezer. So here we are. Just to wipe a little away of it. And we can actually add it to the threads again. So I think it will be all fine. And we of course also have to add grease to the outer part here of the ring. I think it will be fine. Oh gosh. Something like that. And it should be there. It says click at some point. You see, it goes all the way to the stop. So I think, well, it's the right thread. So now I can add a little. Maybe it's better to just add something in here. And I also have to add something at the gap here for the guide pin. So also have to be a little, doesn't have to be much. I think it will be fine for now. And we can just add a good thin film. And we also have to give the retaining ring some lube. And also down here, I would think, no, it's not really necessary. Well, we'll just give it a good amount of grease. And also on the very top here, there we have to add some grease. And again, it doesn't have to be much. So I think it will work fine for now. Yeah. Let's see if we take the the retaining ring. You see, we also have to give it some grease around here on the inner ring here. I will say something around here on the inside here. This should also be add grease. What if I do this? Something like that, and we can then spread it around. So, yeah, I would think so, and then we can just put the ring on here and let it move around, and in that way spread the grease. We could also take a small tweezer, and in that way spread it around here. So there should just be a thin grease, film of grease, not the movie grease. Haha. Then I just need another curtain bud here. So that should be all fine. Yep, that's all fine. And then I can add the helicoid itself, and I also need to put in the little guide pin, which I actually found around here. So there was not any problem. It could be a bad thing if I lose it. Oh, come on, little screw. Yeah. And you should just screw it, tight in, not too much. It sits quite tight. That should be enough. And then I should, it would be possible to add it over here. And you have the guide pin here, the little gap here. So I should just add it over and put it in. Whoa, fine. It's actually quite good, in my opinion. It has a good, yeah, it's not too tight, and it's not too loose. So I will add the retaining ring here, and since I have my mark here and I have my off mark here, it should be possible to put it in. And since I wrote down there should be around 6 turns to screw it in again, that should be all fine. Click. . And maybe I need some gloves to actually, I think it will be fine. Yeah, you can see, of course, the focusing ring will of course move the helicoid. So how to do that? I should have ended up around here, but that's actually a little distance. Maybe if I just continue and simply screw it in. It's difficult with grease on the gloves. I'll just use my sticky working gloves here and put it into correct. It's not really much, so I would think it would work. Oh, that was a bit too much. Then I can just turn it back again and then screw it clockwise until the two marks are in line here. Doesn't have to be much. Little too much. Okay, here just go again. And here we are. That's really good. So everything is actually lined up. Just a tiny amount of movement. So now it's fine. So I can add the 3 small set screws and put on the where's my 1.2 millimeter flathead. Then I can add the tiny screw here. They can be a little tricky to put in, but now it works. Don't over tighten them. They're really, really small. So, next one, where is it here? Going a little backward to catch the correct thread. Yeah, here we are. Fine. And the last one. So there. Wow, really small. So the last screw is over here. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Gently tighten it. Oh, big difference. So now it's fine, and I can actually add the outer focusing ring. And since all the set screws are in, I have my infinity mark here. And I can just add the outer focusing ring and say that's all fine. Oh. should be something like there, and my marks are really fine. So where's my set screw here? Yeah. And there. It's actually very, I think it's not too stiff. I mean, it's a heavy lens, so it has to be a little, but it has a good feeling. So now I can actually add the tripod mount, and where's my screwdriver here? This one goes on here. There. That's fine here. And then the other screw on the tripod, so we are there. Have it tighten it good, not too much. That's fine. So next thing is the actual lens assembly. And since I have the spacer, maybe I should measure that, just in case you could use that info. So let's see, it's 5.94. That's possibly good info to somebody. So I'll just put it in and put the focusing helicoid over it, and simply add the there's a really long thread. So let's see, and then tighten it. Good. Wow. It has a really good feeling with this grease. So I think, yeah, that's all from me in this case. Hope you can use the info in this video about this old lens. So that's all for me. Bye bye.